Welcome to another episode of Eradicating Programmed Ignorance, the Town Crier, or as some of you know, EPI Town Crier. This is a show that, again, we try our very best, and I don't do this show very often. I just don't have the time anymore. But when we do get a chance to do it, when I do get a chance to sit down with a guest that I know has value not only for myself and the project, but for everybody listening, and even those not listening, then we sit down and we do this. Today is it's a proud moment because most of you out there have been aware that we have been trying to launch a secret project for well over a year. Well, the truth is, I've been trying to launch it for almost 3 years, and we have finally gotten this thing across the finish line. I have a guest with me today who is basically the second in charge of that entire project, and it is with her help and her grace that we have managed to drag this thing across the finish line, among some other people, which we will speak to as this show progresses. Uh, my guest today is Mary Ellen, and she is the administrative director of TLB Talk, actually the entire TLB project, but we're going to focus on TLB Talk. The reason is we want it to have its own personality. Once it has established a personality, once it has established its place, then it will find a place within the rest of the TLB project. But for right now, TLB Talk is an entity in itself. And TLB does not stand for the Liberty Beacon. Hello, how are you, Mary Ellen? And please tell the audience what TLB stands for.
Hello, thank you so much for having me, and I'm honored to be here. And TLB stands for Truth, Liberty, and Balance. And I think it is something that is absolutely a necessity in this day and age to have. So I am glad to be here. Thank you very much for having me.
I'm going to tell you, well, again, I appreciate you being here. I not only appreciate you being here, but I appreciate all of the work and effort that you put in to launching this project. Now, I want to go back to the TLB again just for a second. We all know about truth. We talk about it all the time. We beat it up over and over again because there isn't enough of it. And what's presented as the truth, you and I both know, Mary Ellen, in most cases isn't. Liberty is something else most of us talk about because anybody who's listening to a show like this or anything Mary Ellen does or anything most of the people who help launch this project, they're talking about liberty. So, truth and liberty are something that we were all aware of, and we're aware of whether we have it or whether we don't have it. And most of us are working on solving those issues. The one thing that you hardly ever hear, but is extremely critical, is the word balance. We don't have balance anymore. We have a country that's actually being driven into the ground by one side, and the other side doesn't have a voice. Or if that voice is there, it's being demonized. And it's being demonized by the very people we used to call our neighbors. We are looking at a situation where B had to be balanced. Why did it have to be balanced? Because of the things that we have discussed, truth and liberty. Balance is the one thing that most Americans just haven't got a clue of anymore. And between Mary Ellen and I and the rest of TLB Talk, and we're just going to go with talk going forward because that's what it's going to end up by being anyway. But those of us involved with talk going forward are going to make sure that you all understand the absolute necessity for balance, especially in a republic that's run in a democratic process. Balance is critical. Would you agree
Amen.
with that?
Amen. I mean, I that is absolutely perfect the way that you explained it. And it's unfortunate that many people don't even understand. They're being deceived and because it's so much out of balance on mainstream media that they're only hearing one side. And when you approach those type of people with actual facts that, cannot be disputed, it can, cause backlash and like, sometimes anger and just bewilderment because they're clueless. They're clueless because of
Yes.
the one, way narrative that is just being forced out on mainstream media and all of, the majority of social media networks, not just even mainstream, but Facebook, for example, even Twitter, they're guilty of it as well. anything that you put up that does not fit that narrative of, things are great with Bill Gates and, nothing to see there. He's a wonderful person. If you try to challenge that in any way, and it's not just Bill Gates, it's any of that portion of the narrative, like vaccines are safe and effective, that kind
Hmm.
of thing. If you go against that grain, Facebook will censor you. They will put a warning on the post that you make, or they'll restrict your account, or what happened to us, they will even delete your group. And we had a very successful group, and it was doing very well. It was all about education, that you were not getting from the TV set and mainstream media and so on and so forth. And Facebook removed that group. There was another group that I was part of the leadership team for. It was the COVID vaccine reaction group, one of the first ones on Facebook, and it became one of the very quickest growing groups on there. And we had about 125,000 members, and there was really no rhyme or reason. Facebook just deleted it. They removed it. And that's unfortunate because that group was not just people that were anti-vaccine. It was not just a group for pro-vaccine. It was a combination of both, and they were sharing their stories, their concerns, so on and so forth. But because it was getting so much attention and people had proof of, like, hey, everything was fine. Here's the story, here's the video, and people were showing some of the reactions that they were having to the COVID vaccine. Facebook would not allow that. And that's unfortunate because that's the balance that we desperately need in this country. I don't know what ever happened to the healthy
Yeah.
debates and just putting the information out there and allowing people to decide for themselves, present them both sides of the story, and then let people decide for themselves. That's gone
Yes.
away, and we are going to bring it back.
Not only did you put that forward so well, but let's go back, and I wrote about this not too long ago, actually just a couple of days ago. And let's go back to the the dawning age of social media. Let's go back to the late 1990s, in the very late 1990s, when Facebook was actually coming to life in a fashion where people looked at it and they said, "My God, I can have a voice. I can have a voice where I can talk to my friends all over the country and even people across the world. This is something special." Actually, Facebook was pretty much um, advertised, pretty much promoted as being able to give us a voice. The only thing they found out is that in situations like the one you just described, or political situations that we knew, if you did any digging, were not to the good of we the people. In fact, to the detriment of we the people, they started to talk about it on these social media platforms, especially Facebook, because for a while that was the only one there was. It didn't take them long to realize, and we're talking about the elites, the people with very big money that control people like Gates and those type of organizations, meaning Facebook or whatever. And that's Zuckerberg when it comes to Facebook. And the CIA ties, and we won't go into this, it's not a conspiracy show, but the CIA ties to Zuckerberg are not that well hidden. And anybody who does a little research can find that out. But after launching this phenomenal organization that the world had never seen called Facebook and telling us that it was a platform to give us a voice, it didn't take them long to realize, and we're talking about government entities or those who own and run governments, the elites, okay? It didn't take them long to realize that we, the people, were going to use this as a platform to tell other we, the peoples, that things were wrong. And why were they wrong and how were they wrong? It didn't take long after that before people like Zuckerberg were finding ways to cancel our message. So we went from here is a platform to give you people, we the people, okay, a voice. And shortly after that, within 2 or 3 years, it was we really need to shut these people up, but we don't want to kick them off because we like their money. So this is where we're at today. Would you agree? We're at a point where the censorship is literally so bad that the only way you can stay on Facebook and be happy nowadays is if you're pretty much brain dead.
And you nailed it. I mean, because with the magnitude of what's taking place in our country right now, and with freedoms being at stake and liberties just and not only that, not what's at stake, but if you think about the sacrifices that people made for us to have these freedoms, what they
Yep.
gave and what they did for us. And this is truly the only reason we even have the freedoms we have today was because people of our past united and they fought back against, just anything that the draconian bills, everything that was going on. And it is mind blowing at what takes place and how it's so widely accepted.
But
And
But hold on one second, and I apologize for interrupting. But you made a sterling point. I just want to take it to the absolute top. These people got together and they fought back. This is what you said. Why did they do it, and what did they actually form? They did it because they loved their country. And the second part is they did it as a community. This is something America has lost. And it isn't because we didn't want it, it's because we were supposed to lose it. That's programmed ignorance. And we'll talk more about that later.
Absolutely. And I can't stress that part enough as far as the sacrifices and everything that was done for us and how grateful and appreciative I am and so many patriots in this country and obviously the people that are a part of our team, the TLB Talk team. It's phenomenal. I truly feel that we were brought together for from divine intervention, the way
Yeah.
that things played out and how
Yes.
we built the team. And obviously, we would not be here and able to even have this conversation about TLB Talk if it wasn't for the team members that we have. So they are truly the rock stars that made this happen, as well as you being the pioneer here and not giving up. I know that you've been through a few struggles with the site, and it's just been an honor to be a part of it and make this happen because I truly believe that we are going to have an extremely positive impact for this country
I,
as
I, I
well
not
as
I not only agree with you, but I want to go into a little bit deeper the the how, the what, and the why of TLB Talk. So you started something. Let me give the audience just a little bit of an update on that so they understand what you're talking about. This process actually started between 3 and 3.5 years ago. The thing of it is, when you have social media platforms launching today, like Trump's or like Mike Lindell, the Pillow Guys, these people are bragging at having spent millions upon millions of dollars and had the best experts working on these sites. Yet, when Pillow Guy, yeah, Mike Lindell launches his, within 8 hours it crashes. We didn't put millions of dollars into this. And over the last 3 years, they put theirs together in months. Over the last 3 years, we have had some ups and downs. Again, we're not paying anybody to do anything. All of the people you're going to hear about going forward, including myself and Mary Ellen, we're not getting paychecks. What we're doing is donating our time and our efforts to a project that we firmly believe in all the way to our core. So, 3.5 years after the first time I tried to get this thing launched, and I have gone through so many people who just have decided, I've put enough into this. I've got a family. I've got to do this. And you cannot blame them because we're not paying them. But did they have a piece of the rock? Yes, they did. Their imprint is here. Everything that we gained, and I think I used this on the last show, if we went forward 2 inches and had to slide back 3 feet, we saved those 2 inches so we wouldn't have to cover that ground again. The problem was we didn't have a stable team because nobody was getting paid and people lived halfway across the world. So if they made you a promise and couldn't keep it, what could you do? Nothing. So if you put all of these variables together, getting something as critically large and complex as a social media website, getting it done with this type of help is long and arduous. And this is the trials and tribulations we went through. What we needed was a team that could get it across the finish line. Now, anybody who saw this 3 years ago, and some people have, would understand that it pretty much looked like an old Facebook. reproduction. It wasn't fancy. It didn't have a whole lot of bells and whistles, but it worked. That is what we started with. That's not what you will see if you go to TLB Talk today. Why am I saying that? Because of people like Mary Ellen. Mary Ellen helped coordinate all of this so that when we got across the finish line, we actually knew what we were doing and who did it. We have a gentleman named Dan. Dan has over 30,000 friends or followers on his Facebook wall. No, he's not a celebrity. He isn't. He's not an actor. No, he isn't. What is he? He's an individual who knows how to put a word out and captivate your attention, who knows how to give you the truth in measured amounts so that you don't overdose on it, but at the same time, you want to hear a little bit more. This is Dan. So now we've got Mary Ellen and Dan. Then we move on to Allie. Allie is in her late teens and has the energy of a 10 megaton bomb.
She's
Allie,
in her late 20s, actually, late 20s.
oh, what did I
That's what
say?
you said, teens.
Oh, no, no. Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. And Allie's going to listen to this and go, did he really say that? That's a compliment, Allie. But yeah,
Yeah,
I think
she
she's
looks
20.
young. She looks young, but she's
Yeah,
yeah, she's in her late 20s.
I think she's like 27. But the thing
Yep.
of it is, she's young enough at this point compared to most of the rest of the staff that you would expect that it would be an issue. I'm going to tell you something. Everybody has issues, but let me tell you something about what Allie has accomplished. Allie managed to drag this thing across the finish line where three other people in that position couldn't. Okay. Dan is up and ready to go. Mary Ellen's on this show with me, itching to get things done. John, who owns and runs RBN, Republic Broadcasting Network, is also somebody who's helping us to promote it. John's been doing what he's been doing for 33 years. Yeah, he's been on the air for 33 years. And then we go to Kristen. And I got to tell you something about Kristen, okay? Everything that you see graphically going forward, whether it's special images, whether it's videos, these are things that have been created by probably one of the best teams or duos for doing this type of thing I've met in a long time, and I've met a lot of them. And that's Mary Ellen and Kristen. Now, Kristen is the graphic artist. She puts the videos and things like that together, and her and Mary Ellen work on picking the graphics, so on and so forth, to get all of this done. We have three videos published at this point. If you look at any one of them, the first thing that hits you, and I know this because it's happened over and over again, is just how professional they look and how much they really grab you. No, I'm not joking. They grab you. One of them will have you on the edge of your seat. The other one will have tears in your eyes. I'm not joking. You all know me better than that. This is an absolute fact. The team we have right now, the team that represents TLB Talk, the team that is the senior staff, is the team that pulled it across the finish line after 3.5 years of trying. These are all special people. And Mary Ellen, they pretty much all work for you. What's your opinion of the team?
Oh my God, they're rock stars. Absolute rock stars. Could not do it without them. I've worked with Allie for a few years just within our group, as well as Kristen. And the way that we even came together, again, it was just divine intervention. And I work very well with both of them. I can't say enough great things about the both of them. We're truly blessed, no doubt in my mind. We are absolutely, truly blessed. And the project would not be what it is today if it wasn't for them. And I'm extremely happy and excited to continue doing more projects and videos moving forward and just new tech designs or designs and as well as updating tech. And we have more in store. So what
Yes.
you see right now, it's
Yeah.
only going to get better. I promise. It will only get better from here because we are going to continue to perfect it, improve it, and keep on chugging along because we have a passion and almost like I don't even know.
Like you're
We want
driven.
yes, and it's a little bit of revenge driven because
Yes.
of what was done to us on Facebook by Facebook and their policies and because how passionate we are when it comes to educating people and wanting to help people and keep people safe as much as possible. Allie, Chris, and myself, our hearts are just into this project, and you can clearly see it with the work that we put out. And
Absolutely.
so it will continue to grow, I promise.
And I am just about as well. I've known Dan since I started the Liberty Beacon Project almost 13 years ago. And this is the guy who has 35,000 people on his wall, not because he's a celebrity, but because he's Dan. And John has been doing radio for 33 years. And actually, I will be on John's show a little later today. So again, we have platforms. But what I want to go over here is we're talking about something that's unique. We're talking about something that really hasn't been done before because, and let's go over the becauses, because there's two things everybody needs to understand. And I'm going to go over the first one, then I want your input on that. And then I'll go over the second one, and you can give us your input on that one as well. Okay, Mary Ellen?
Yep.
The first one is let's talk about freedom of speech. Absolutely. Do you have freedom of speech in Facebook? Absolutely not. Do you have freedom of speech on Twitter? No, you don't. Do you have it on YouTube? No, you don't. And I could go on and on. You have the freedom of speech that they allow you. When you throw the word allow you, or the two words allow you in there, what you've done is negated any hope of anybody who has half a brain understanding that there's freedom of speech. We offer a platform that says you are free to speak your mind. If you have an idea you wish to get across, you can get that wish across. Now, we also have to understand this is a brand new forum. There's going to be trolls and chills sent in there to absolutely do what they can to take us down. Freedom of speech does not mean that you can go in and say and do things illegally. It doesn't mean that you can go in and threaten to kill people. It doesn't mean, in other words, freedom of speech is something you have to take with a grain of salt. And that grain of salt is responsibility and respect. And if they're not there, you won't be there. This is a have to be anywhere. If you cannot have a civil society, people don't want to be in that society. If you're building a community where everybody is an agitator, the community starts to fail as soon as you start to build it. We are building a community, which means that if it's illegal on the outside, it's illegal on the inside. We're giving you the ability to talk about any topic you wish, whether it's vaccines, whether it's stolen elections, whether it's about tyrants in the government, whether it's about, and I could go on and on. You have that platform. Do it in a respectful fashion. You're never going to be bothered. Break the law. We're going to kick you out as fast as anybody else is. This is a necessity, especially for self preservation. I want your thoughts on that, Mariella.
I can't say it any better than what you just did. You nailed it because there are things that we have to have structure within the site, and there are several things that are illegal.
Yep.
Child porn, human trafficking, solicitation of sex. Those are completely off limits. So
Bodily
when we
threats.
say yes, the threats as well, death threats, violence, that kind of thing. We are going out of our way to provide a platform that gives people the chance to share their truth, to educate, to express their freedom, and to bring forth that balance that we so desperately need that was not there on other social media platforms. But yet, at the end of the day, we still have to have laws to abide by. And it is for the protection of the entire site and
Yes.
for our members. And I can assure you that I am one of those mama bears, and I will wholeheartedly protect things and the
Yes.
people that I believe in every member that comes in. I will protect them, even if I have to protect them from themselves. And I will
Hold
not.
on, right there. Hold on 1 second, because I got to tell the audience this. Look, let me explain something to you about Mary Ellen you don't know. Mary Ellen is one of my favorite people on the planet. I'm not joking. I've told her this a couple of times already, so it's not new to her. Okay. She is. I also think, because she's a lot like me, I also think that if you piss her off, you got to find a place to hide. Mary Ellen, it's the truth. I mean, when people go out of their way to poke you in the eye, they better run.
Well, hey, I'm all about respect, and I will do my best to always be respectful, and I match respect levels too.
Yes,
So I
you
will
do.
always put forth the effort of being respectful and courteous and compassionate. But when I notice that it's not being reciprocated, then it's kind of like the claws and the fangs come out. And I
I've
might
seen
give a
it.
little warning here and there, like a warning growl, to try to straighten people up. And if they don't follow through, then hey, I warned them. That's all I can say about it. And it's just because I care, and
And
I
it's
care about
also
my
due to the
country.
fact that you spent a big chunk of your life in management, where you
Yes.
learn a lot about why people make excuses, how people make excuses. Yeah, yeah. You didn't come into this with no training, lady. You didn't.
No, no, I definitely I was in upper management, and I worked from the very, very bottom, and I made it to the very, very top. And it was then still the same thing it is now. Just pure determination, and I was dedicated and believed for the companies that I worked for, and I wanted to make a difference, and I was able to do that. And luckily, I have a very good rapport with people that I've worked with for years. And I'm talking even when I very first started off in my career more than 20 years ago. And I still have several coworkers that we've actually become friends, and we keep in regular contact, and it's refreshing, and it's
Yes,
also a compliment to have those type of relationships and history with such a vast amount of people. And
agreed.
it's good. It's a compliment because I feel like, hey, I actually did make a difference, and this is even people that worked for me, and they reach out to me and say, hey, boss, when you coming back? And that's
Not.
yeah, it's a great feeling. It really is, and I'm happy to be here. And those same morals and values that are instilled in me, and I'm able to contribute to the team in that aspect of it. And I do my best. I know sometimes I get after the crew, but I run a tight ship. And look at
Yes.
the results. Look at the results. I do
No,
it all in
I
love and
agree.
care. And so sometimes I know they're like, "Oh God, she's calling me again." But we look at the results. We've made some masterpieces
Yes.
with videos and um,
And the
images,
site
and
looks
just the
so
site.
much better than it did 2.5 years ago. My God, it's day and night. It really is.
It really is, and
All right,
I'm
look,
excited.
I don't want to keep you forever, but I do want to go on to the second part of this. And to me,
Uh,
this is what's paramount. Now, anybody out there who's about to roll your eyes into the back of your head after my first sentence, please stick around and listen to the rest of it. Again, this is paramount. All right. We are talking about Mike Lindell spending, as according to him, close to $10 million on his forum. I can't imagine Trump putting out something cheaper than Mike Lindell. So we're talking about millions of dollars have been invested in those projects, and they are both having issues. Okay, let me explain to you what we are doing. Okay, we are asking, and this is part of when you sign up, you will see this. I'm just giving you a heads up so that you understand the significance and the importance of this. We're telling you that we are a platform of, by, and for the people. All right, of the people. Why do we say of the people? Because you have no clue how many people have actually had their fingers into putting this together. This is truly an of the people, okay, platform by the people. Gee, what does that mean? Um, yeah, let me explain something to everybody out there. None of us are rich. None of us. We don't have even $1 million, never mind $10 million. We managed to put this together with out of pocket money, okay, that has come from people like Mary Ellen, people like Dan, people, and I could go on. We have put together a project for under 50,000, and it's actually considerably under 50,000, that everybody else is basically putting millions of dollars in. Theirs are failing. Ours has been up and running for several days, and no, it's not failed. But at the same time, we didn't set up to storm the gates. In other words, we didn't set it up so we'd have 10 million people in there on the first day. We set this up so that it would build over time. Why do we want that to happen? Because that's how you get community. If you bring 10 million people in all at once, community is a hard thing to get and it will take a long time. If you start out with 500 people and the next week you have 1,000 people, and the next week you have 5,000 people, and the next week you have 25,000 people. Along the way, you have the time, and people can put the effort in to build that community. But how do we do this? Because none of this is free. We have bandwidth, we have servers we need to pay for. There are techs that need to be reimbursed. All of this costs money. How do we do this? Because we haven't even talked about that. We already told you we're not rich. How do we do that? It's free to join TLB Talk. Doesn't cost you a penny to join. What we ask you to do on your way in is toss $5 into the bucket. That $5 is going to help a heck of a lot more than you could possibly consider. But $5, $5, you've got a choice. Okay. You can put in 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. You can put in 100. I know one person that put in 400. Yeah. If you stop and consider that, that's all good. There's even a little box you can check when you go in and put your first donation in that says, make this a monthly donation. So you put in $5, you check the box. What does that do? That ensures that as we move forward, we have the funds to expand this project. Let me explain to you the metrics of this. We don't expect to have 1 million people in there in the first week. That would probably have been not real good for us. But we do have a sizable chunk already in there. These people are donating an average of $6 to $7, meaning some people don't put any, some people put 20, some people put 10. The average is a little bit less than $10 when I looked a little while ago, and before that it was about $7. So you're figuring about $8 or $9 per person. I got done telling you not too long ago that we're expecting, and I'm going to tell you this, within the first month, month and a half, to have three quarters, I mean, a half a million to three-quarters of a million people. If the average maintains itself of a little bit less than $10 per person, and you have that many people, now you understand how we fund this project. It's not because some rich guy said, I'm going to give you $1 million, do whatever you want, build that project, but when it's done, this is what I expect. No, it's the $5 that everybody dropped in the bucket. It's the $100 that several people put in. It's the $20, which seems to be right about now, the average seems to be $20. So if you stop to consider that, and we are fully expecting to have between a half a million and 1 million people in there long before the end of the year. And we have an average of $5 per person. You're talking about the money we need not only to grow this, but as Mary Ellen said, to go in a whole different direction in some cases. And I'm almost done, Mary Ellen. If, and I'm not going to detail this, but I've already said this on 2 shows, so I'm going to say it here. The intention here on this project is that TLB Talk is the replacement for Facebook. But we will, and I've already started the thought process and the actual looking for the software process. We want to replace YouTube as well. We want to replace Twitter as well. Are you catching the drift here? We want you to be able to launch into your TLB Talk or your Talk panel, and in front of you, you have a module to each and every one of these pieces of software. They're all connected together. You can even move information from one to the next. You will have no need to go to Facebook and have your videos pulled down. I mean, YouTube. You'll have no need to go to Facebook and have your post pulled down. You will have no need to go to Twitter and be banned because you said something that, hey, Bill Gates may not like. This is where we are headed. How is all of this going to happen? We have the ability to say whatever we wish to say because we're not funded from the outside. We're not funded from people who said, here's $100,000, this is what I want. Here's $1 million, this is what I want. It's the $5, the $10, the $20 that comes out of people's pockets as they come in. And those that are thinking forward that say, you know what, make this a monthly. They check that box, make this a monthly donation. This is what is bringing us forward. Right now, the average, and I just checked this again today, is a little bit less than $10 a person. I just got done telling you by the end of the year, I fully expect to have more than 1 million, even though we're not going out and beating the bush to get a lot of people in. We should have over 1 million people. If the average maintains at $10 or close to $10 per person, everything I just described to you is not only doable, but it's doable in a fashion that will absolutely astound people. If I told you what we paid for TLB Talk, you would be amazed. You would say, how the heck could you do that for this money? And these people are saying they did it for $10 million. Now I'm going to turn it over to you, Mary Ellen, because you've been involved with a lot of the stuff on the back end that we're doing, beating ourselves up trying to get done that we're not paying $1 million for.
And it again, it comes back down to the team and the passion that each of us have to see this project through, and the what we hold dear in our hearts, and how we truly feel that we were brought together, and I can't say this enough, from divine intervention. The team that we have and how focused and determined and passionate each and every one of us are to make this successful is unmatched. So while we may not have 10 million or 1 million, like, Trump or Mike Liddell, the Pello guy, we have heart. And I can also tell you, you can
Yes.
see that in our site. And I'm not saying this just because this is our site. I'm saying this because it's true. Because I will call it like I see it.
Critical.
We
Yes.
we have the best looking site out. It blows away everyone else's out there. The graphics, the creativity, the thought process, everything that went into this. And what you were talking about, members that donate and so on and so forth, this is another thing why I'm so passionate about making sure that we stick to the rules and the members that come in, because I'm here to protect everybody.
Yes.
And I, will do everything in my power to make sure that um, we continue to run a tight ship and not let people get out of control and so on and so forth. So while we do have laws that we will respect and abide by, it's also at the same time the freedom to still share your truths and to provide that balance that our country so desperately needs, and to hopefully wake people up. And I can't say enough good things about it. I'm excited about it. I am looking forward to continuing to watching this grow and to be a part of the team and to see this be a true success, because I think that we have the potential to truly make a huge difference, not only in our country, but in the world for history as well. Because when people look back, let's just say 100 years from now, and they look at the censorship that was taking place on social media, and then they say, "Oh, hey, look at TLB, Truth, Liberty, Balance, TLB Talk. Look where they come through at." Because if you go back and you look at history, there's not been a single time in history that anyone who is ever doing the censoring or in book burning or anything along those lines, we're on the right side of history. Not once. And it still stands true today. So all the stuff that's taking place, like, oh, you can't say that people have a reaction to vaccines. They want to hide that. They want to censor that. So, like I said, it might be 50 years from now, maybe 100 years from now. But when people go back and look, and they see the censorship, the virtual book burning that I like to call it, we're going to
Yes.
be on the right side of history. And so I'm honored to be here and to be a part of it and to work with the team that we have, and to work with you, Roger. You're phenomenal. I truly appreciate your passion, your dedication, and your loyalty is unmatched. And it's refreshing because you are a rare breed. The good Lord broke the mold with you there, mister. So I can't say enough good things about you as well.
If you stop to consider, and again, we always have to stop to consider. It's not stopping to consider, which is why most of us today rush headlong into disasters. If you stop to consider where we stand right now, TLV talk is something that is necessary. And again, we drop the TLV because that's eventually going to happen. But talk is of importance. It's of importance because I'm not going to go again into a lot of detail, but I want to make a point here. All right. And anybody who listens to me, which most of you do, you've heard this before. But Mary Ellen just made a very, very good point. You're not allowed to talk about vaccines. So they shut you down, or they program it so that so few people see what you're actually saying. You don't know you're being shadow banned, but you are. Okay. I need to explain to everybody out there right now. Okay. There are more people dying and being critically injured for life from COVID 19 vaccines right now than there are dying from COVID 19. That's an absolute fact. And the difference is not small, they're not close. It's huge. So I'm telling you that more people are dying from what's supposed to be the cure than are dying from what's supposed to be, I don't know, the requirement for the cure. But you're not allowed to talk about it. Now, I'm not going to go any deeper into that because I want you to think about what I just told you. I want you to think about this, and then I want to ask you something. Why were the Nuremberg trials convened? Think about both of those things I just said, and they both fit together in the same thimble. They actually do. So, in order for us to be able to tell people the truth, in order for people to be able to protect themselves, their families, so on and so forth, and we're not just talking about vaccines, we're talking about tyranny, we're talking about finances, we're talking about we need a place where we feel safe getting the information we need just to stay alive. And you're not allowed to do it on big tech. Where do I have that wrong, Mariam?
You nailed it. 100%. You nailed it. You knocked it out of the park there. And it's the absolute truth. And this is why, and like you said, we are a necessity. What we are doing, it is a necessity. Everyone is welcome. Everyone. We encourage, all political backgrounds to
Yep.
come in and share what you feel is your truths, bring the evidence to show that. Let's welcome back that debate that was so refreshing decades ago, and give people the education to make up their own minds, provide them with both sides, list the pros and cons, and let the education roll out and empower people to make their own decisions. And let's just stop with the censorship and like I said, the modern day virtual book burning that's taken place because of the narratives that are being just shoved in everyone's face, whether it be on the TV set, the radio. You can't even go to the grocery store without hearing it over the loudspeaker about the COVID vaccine. Oh, it's like, oh, good Lord.
Yeah, I
And
know.
so it's just everywhere. And that is done for a reason. That's not just to advertise. That is strategic. That is almost like
Programming.
manipulation and programming and brainwashing, just downright brainwashing. And so we are going to be the voice from the other side, provide that platform to where people will have a chance to go and be like, hey, Channel 4 News, they didn't say this. I didn't hear this on the radio. What's this about? And this is the opportunity for people to come in, and it's not just education and hardcore political, nothing like that. This is also a place where people can socialize and
Community.
exactly, and build friendships, and bring your family, invite your family over, and have them make an account, and let it just be your new home, because we absolutely plan to continue to grow and thrive, and by the grace of God, be successful. And I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, so the main points have been discussed. Why did we do this? What was the necessity for it? What do we have to be careful of? And of course, obviously, it was our ability to get our word out was the why. What are the critical issues we need to be aware of? And that is, there will be those, the more successful we get, who wish to see us less successful. And for that, as a community, we need to be ready to protect ourselves and our community. And the third thing was this is not this is not Facebook. You can't come in and sit down, put your feet up on the chair and say, "Yep, I'm going to snooze here for a while." And it doesn't matter what goes on around me because this is all paid for by a bunch of rich people who live in the clouds. No. This is your forum. It is of, for, and by we the people. It's your forum. So if you want to sit there on the couch with your feet kicked up on the coffee table watching some senseless show while TLB Talk fails, and I'm not thinking that's going to happen, then don't donate. And again, nobody has to donate. But if you walk into this feeling like this is yours, This is a piece of you. This is something you can carry forward. Then dropping $5 in the bucket on the way in becomes a whole lot easier, and you get to smile while you're doing it.
Amen.
Would you do me a favor, Mary Ellen, and just give a wrap up? Anything you'd wish to say about the project at this point, and then I'll give about a 1 minute wrap up and we'll call it quits. But I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do going forward, Mary Ellen. I'm going to tell everybody right here on the show. I've talked about Dan. Dan is our he's our he basically the member and community director. And then we have John and Zach, who pretty much handle getting the word out to other forums and other platforms. And then we've got Allie, who is our tech administrator. We've got Kristen, who is our graphics director. And we have our project administrator, who is Mary Ellen. These are the people we've been talking about. So I think at least once a week for the next 5 weeks or 4 weeks, because there's six of us, and I just did one with Mary Ellen, we're going to do each one of the directors or the administrators once a week and let them have their chance to tell the world why they were here and what they hope to see it accomplish.
That would be wonderful. And as far as to wrap it up, I just encourage everyone to come check us out. Take a look. You guys already know what's out there. You know what Facebook consists of. You know what Twitter looks like. I'm sure most of you probably have been on Parlor and possibly a few other ones. Come check us out. Come take a look for yourselves. Look and see how unique we are. Look to see the community that we're building. And I cannot stress this enough. We are a grassroots social media platform. And this is truly from the people. This is a platform that we are building that we were all passionate and wanted to provide because it was an absolute necessity. And we are truly excited to welcome members in. We want you to be involved. Reach out to us. We're real people. I am probably one of the most down to earth people anyone could ever meet. It doesn't matter if somebody is a janitor or the CEO. I talk to them the same. Will show them the same exact respect level. And
Yep.
I want our members to feel welcomed when they come in. If there is any type of feedback, whether it be good or negative, I need to know. We want to make this platform that our members are proud of, to make them feel that this is their platform, that they have uh, a belonging here, that they're truly wanted to be here. And unlike other platforms, we're not going to spy on you. We're not going to track you. We're not going to sell your information because we're not reporting to anybody. This is truly the only people that we even ever care to report to is our members via feedback. Let us know, hey, are we doing something that you don't like? Is there something that we can improve on? Let us know. And if we can fix it, absolutely. And that's pretty much the gist of it. I am looking forward to seeing this grow and the things that we have in store to get even more people involved and excited about where we're going to take this. And it's just, I mean, absolutely honoring and flattering to be included in this and be a part of this project. It's wonderful. And I can't thank you enough for bringing me on, Roger.
Yeah, well, you already have, but I'm not going to tell you that because you're going to keep doing it anyway. Listen to me. Mary Ellen is every bit as valuable as she sounds like to you. Anybody listening? But I need to talk. And again, I'm wrapping up too. All right, we're just about done here. I need to talk just for a second about why is it called talk? If you have two sides warring against each other, how do they end that war? They have peace talks. If you have two, I don't know, professionals both laying claim to the same thing, how do they solve that? They solve that via arbitration, which is basically talking. What we understand from all of history, that is, if people can put down their anger, their prejudice, and their evil thoughts against those they are warring against, whether it's actual physical war, mental war, online war, if they can put that aside long enough to talk, they will find a mechanism to get past these issues. That's not a joke. That's not a guess. It's a part of history. It wasn't called talk just because we wanted people to talk. It's called talk because that is the solution to so many of the issues we suffer today. With people like Mary Ellen, people like Dan, people like Chris, people like Allie, and I could go on, people like John, if you stop and think about these people, they're not getting paid to do this. They're here because they want you all to have a chance to talk. And with that, Mary Ellen, I really do appreciate your time. And you can help me figure out who's next week's guest is going to be. But at the same time, it never happened for 3.5 years. It happened on the 4th of July, a couple of days ago. Why? Because of the team we have now. And who is the administrative leader of that team? That would be Mary Ellen. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
All right, everybody, that's it. We'll be talking to you again next week with another EPI or an Eradicating Program Ignorance Town Crier. We appreciate you focusing on this for the amount of time that we've been blabbing here. Please do us a favor, okay? Go take a look. That's all you got to do. Doesn't cost you anything. Go take a look. This is the word, I don't know, unique. I think it fits very well, right, Mary Ellen?
It does. And one other thing that I'm going to say for the people that may not be kosher with donating, if
Yeah.
that's not your thing, and don't, and it's no hard feelings. It truly isn't. I'd encourage you to check out our store because the profits that we make from the t-shirt sales, hat sales, merchandise sales, that is going to help fund the project. So if, donating $20 isn't quite up your alley or that's not quite your cup of tea, go check out our store and you can buy a cup for your tea. There's POV mugs on there. There's t-shirts and the prices are very reasonable. We have many freedom hooks that we put on t-shirts and our merchandise, and you can absolutely help promote and get the word out by making a purchase. And at the same time, while you're wearing your t-shirt or your hat out there, the profit that we made from that purchase goes right into the system to continue to expand this and make it grow. So please check out our store. We've worked hard on it.
And I wasn't, I hadn't even thought about that. And I probably would have ended the show without even talking about that. Now, does everybody here understand why I'm so happy when I asked her to be a part of this team? She said yes. Okay.
It's my pleasure.
All right, everybody, this is it. We're out of here. And thank you for listening.
Thank you.